The man who's looking at me. Her eye gleamed, and I followed its direction. It was worth the looking. Tall and impressively built, the Frankish lord was well on in years, but his hair retained its dense hue, and his face was striking, with hawk-like nose and heavy brows. At this moment his mouth was taut in consideration of something that had taken his attention, perhaps my sister. His dark eyes were fixed firmly and with appreciation on her. And why not? I thought. Eyelid's burgeoning shape was revealed by the clinging deep green silk and silver embroidery. Obviously the lord was one of Louis's entourage, but I did not know him. Perhaps he was newly arrived. "Find out for me," Eyelid demanded, not so sotto voce. "Eyelid, in the middle of my wedding feast." But I humoured her. "Who is the lord with the fiery eye?" I moved to murmur to Louis. He looked across, face open in welcome. "My cousin Raoul, Count Raoul of Vermandois." "Why?" "No reason. He looks very proud." Louis raised his hand to draw the lord's attention. "And rightly, he's Seneschal of France. His wife's sister to Count Theobald of Champagne. Powerful connections." The Count approached, bowed, and was introduced. "Lady, a happy occasion." His voice was as smooth as the silk I wore. When he had retired back into the crowd, to the side of an austere lady with a calculating slant to her eye, his extremely well-connected, powerful wife from Champagne, I presumed, I relayed the information to Eyelid as the procession formed behind us. "He's married. He's also old enough to be your father." She looked at me solemnly. "He's handsome, a man of authority, a man, not a boy. And of no interest to you." As ever, Eyelid was an open book, and I saw her intent. A frivolous flirtation at the feast to pass the time between one extravagant course and the next. I paid it no heed other than to consider that sometimes my sister, for all her high breeding and lack of years, had the heart and inclination of a camp whore. "Don't demean yourself," I warned. "I would not." So now we processed down the length of the hall, took our seats, and looked out over the no-expense-spared glory of our celebration. Louis and I acknowledged the good wishes and sipped the marriage cup. I tried not to notice the juxtaposition of my braided hair as it lay on my breast, with my gown and the flash of rubies in the sunlight, but I found time to regret that on the day that I was a bride, at Louis's insistence, I wore red silk damask and fat Louis's rubies. Louis would not be gainsaid. Red was a royal colour, he said. I should be clad as the future Queen of France. I humoured him. By the Virgin, the gold was heavy, but not in the style of my gown. The cut of it was opulent and pure Aquitaine, so that Louis's pale brows rose at my trailing skirts and oversleeves that had to be tied in elegant knots to prevent them dragging in the dust. I was right. He did not approve of ostentation. At least for once Louis looked the part, fair and comely beneath the Aquitaine gold of the ducal coronet, despite the compressed lips. His servants had got to grips with him and turned him out as a prince, as if he had more than 2 silver pennies to rub together. In fact, he dazzled the eye. Perhaps his father and the omnipresent Abbot Suger had insisted on the red and gold tunic, heavy with embroidery, giving bulk to his figure and an unquestionable air of majesty. The feast began. The troubadours sang. The great names of the lords of Gascony and Aquitaine were spread as a mosaic before us. Lusignan and Auvergne, Périgord and Armagnac, Châteauroux, Parthenay. My father had kept them tightly controlled by a clever show of force, coupled with an open hand of generosity, but I knew that as soon as I was in Paris, they'd be gnawing at the edges of my land, like rats on a decaying carcass. The image made me shiver. I sent platters of food and flagons of ale in their direction, and bent a beaming smile on them. Nothing like a feast to soften hostilities.